Can you believe it? You can gauge and explain something known as financial independence, which signifies having adequate money to sustain yourself without working. However, it's not that simple. According to Grant Sabatier, there aren't only 1 or 2 stages past freedom. There are actually 7 degrees of prosperity. Recognizing your position on this prosperity ladder is important, as it guides you in progressing towards financial freedom. So, what are these 7 stages of wealth? Beginning with the initial level, which is dependence, if you find yourself here, it means you rely on someone else to look after you. Typically, individuals in this group are kids, teenagers, or recent college graduates who lack a full-time job or sufficient savings to support themselves. Surprisingly, a report by Savings.com discovered that approximately half of parents still provide financial assistance to their adult children. So, if your parents are still assisting you, you're technically categorized as dependent. Even someone who appears to have abundant resources and opportunities might still fall into this group. They might have affluent parents and numerous prospects ahead of them, but as long as they receive financial aid from their parents, they remain in the dependent category. This phase typically continues until you begin earning your own income and managing your own expenses. The second phase is known as survival. During this stage, you're essentially striving to meet your basic needs and pay your bills without going into debt. Surprisingly, 61% of Americans report living from one paycheck to the next, indicating that they are likely in this survival stage. You might find yourself in this phase even if you've recently begun your career and are earning a reasonable income. Perhaps you haven't had sufficient time to save or establish a financial safety net. However, it's also a phase where you could become stuck. For instance, consider someone who is 27 years old, earns $63,000 a year in the costly Bay Area, and faces challenges in saving due to the high cost of living, a new car payment, and not monitoring their expenses. They also have 2 pets, which increase their monthly costs. While they manage to save a bit each month, a significant unexpected expense could deplete their savings. In such a case, it's advisable to consider changing jobs to increase income and create a wider gap between earnings and expenses. When you're in the survival stage, most of your income is allocated to covering your costs. To make progress, it's essential to concentrate on managing your spending because that's within your direct control. A helpful practice is to examine your credit card and bank statements for the past 3 months to identify where your money is going. This awareness can assist you in making more sound financial decisions. Being in the survival stage isn't the most unfavorable situation, and many Americans find themselves here. However, with diligence and a commitment to enhancing your financial skills and knowledge, you can advance to the next level. Moving on to the third phase, we call it financial stability. During this stage, you're better prepared for unexpected expenses, and you're probably earning enough to have a decent quality of life. You might even manage to go on a vacation once or twice a year, although these trips might not be very extravagant. In terms of finances, you can plan for the next 6 months, but thinking beyond that might be a bit challenging. At the stability level, you typically have 3 important characteristics. 1. You've saved up an emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses. This is essential in case you lose your job or encounter unexpected financial difficulties. 2. You're no longer living paycheck to paycheck. You can comfortably cover your bills and have some money left over. 3. You've started thinking about saving for retirement or other significant expenses, like a down payment on a house. Reaching level 3 is crucial because it reduces the stress related to money. However, your financial journey isn't finished yet. You still need to take the right steps to secure your financial independence in the future, especially if you have student loans or other debts. When it comes to accessible cash, which means money you can readily use, let's consider an example. If your annual expenses add up to around $40,000, covering everything from rent and transportation to food and entertainment, then your monthly spending comes to about $3,333. In this scenario, someone who is financially stable should ideally possess the following: an emergency fund ranging from $10,000 to $20,000, which is equal to 3 to 6 months of living expenses. A checking account balance of $5,000 to $10,000 for everyday spending. Perhaps around $5,000 in a high-yield savings account or some money invested. So, in total, You may need to have somewhere between $20,000 to $40,000 in readily available cash to achieve financial stability, depending on your particular circumstances. More importantly, you're likely earning an annual salary between $65,000 to $90,000, which allows you to cover your expenses and save between 8 to 20% each year. It's important to recognize that moving from one stage to the next might take some time. You could spend several years in each phase before advancing. However, as you enhance your financial knowledge and increase your savings and investments, you can gradually climb the financial ladder. Now, let's move on to the fourth level, which we call financial security. It's somewhat different from financial independence, which we'll discuss later in this video. Financial security means you can effortlessly cover your bills without any worry. You've reached a point where you no longer stress about the cost of your expenses. Instead, your main focus is on growing your wealth within your investment portfolio. You're reaching a stage where even major setbacks, like losing your job for 6 to 12 months, won't derail your broader financial goals. Importantly, financial security isn't solely linked to having a high income. Surprisingly, some people with six-figure incomes still struggle to make ends meet. So, having a higher income doesn't automatically place you in this stage. Financial security is more about having a relatively high income compared to your expenses. In simple terms, you're likely living well below your means. If you're younger, let's say under 25 or 30, you probably haven't reached financial security yet because there are many uncertainties in your life. You don't know if you'll have children or where you'll settle down permanently, making it challenging to predict your annual expenses. Financial security is often attained later in life, around ages 35, 40, 45, and beyond when you've established your financial foundation, understand your annual expenses, and are saving for significant goals such as your children's college education. Another objective at this stage is to attempt to pay off your mortgage if you haven't already, and increase your savings rate. The national average savings rate for individuals is approximately 4.5%, but you're striving to boost it to 15 to 20% if you haven't already done so. Even if you're financially secure, you're likely still mindful of your budget for the most part. Nevertheless, you can occasionally treat yourself to luxury items without jeopardizing your financial stability. Now, let's discuss the fifth level, known as financial independence. This is often a significant objective for many individuals because it means your investments can fully cover all your everyday expenses. You might have come across groups like FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early, and their primary goal is to be self-sufficient using their investments. Their precise definition of financial independence involves being able to withdraw 4% of their overall portfolio value annually to sustain their lifestyle indefinitely. To accomplish this, the typical aim is to accumulate a net worth that's at least 25 times your yearly expenses. For instance, if your annual costs amount to $40,000, you'd target a portfolio worth $1 million. This would enable you to live on an annual budget of $40,000. The expectation is that the returns from your investments can replace the income you're drawing. In a technical sense, at this stage, you could think of yourself as retired, and working becomes optional. Nevertheless, many individuals who attain this point still choose to work, but they do so on their own terms. Some people choose to continue working because they aim to support a more lavish lifestyle, while others find work they're passionate about and truly enjoy. Financial independence also usually entails having paid off most, if not all, of your debts, including your mortgage. Moreover, you've set aside enough for your children's future needs, covering virtually every financial obligation you can think of. At this stage, your primary concern is your own living expenses, which are being taken care of by your investment income. That's when you can confidently say you're financially independent. Now, let's shift our attention to the sixth level, known as financial freedom. Technically, it's the second to last level, but for 99.9% of people, it's the ultimate destination. Financial freedom signifies having the freedom to do whatever you wish, whenever you wish. At this point, you're living life to the fullest, and your investments are more than sufficient to support your lifestyle. Some people even refer to this as having FU money, meaning you have the equivalent of a year's salary in your pocket, giving you the peace of mind that you can maintain your preferred lifestyle without ever worrying about running out of money. In practical terms, this means you can enjoy luxurious vacations around the world, afford the indulgences you desire, and pursue almost anything you wish. You might not reach the level of owning a private jet, but that's not even a necessity at this point. You wake up feeling at ease without a single concern about financial obligations. At this stage, your focus shifts to determining how you can spend your time to bring the greatest happiness and fulfillment. Hopefully, you've been working towards this throughout your life, but it's at this juncture when the financial burdens are entirely lifted, and it's solely about deciding how you want to spend your time. Now, the final level is one that very few people will ever reach, and it's called financial abundance. This is like the next level of wealth, and to be honest, not many individuals can attain this level. Reaching financial abundance typically takes an incredibly long time, or if you're quite young, it might require a substantial windfall, like selling a company or going public, IPO. At this stage, you've gone far beyond financial freedom. If you're financially abundant, you're probably thinking about how to leave a lasting legacy or make a significant impact on the world. Money is no longer a concern. You have more money than you could ever need. Your children are well provided for, and perhaps even your grandchildren. Your main focus shifts to making the most of the time you have left on this earth. You can attend most events because you can simply buy your way in. You might have multiple houses, a private jet, and you likely engage in generous philanthropy. If you wish to journey to space, you might even start your own space company because there are no financial barriers in your way. You don't necessarily need to be as well known as Elon Musk or Richard Branson, but the idea is that if you're financially abundant, you have an abundance of money, and you can use it to pursue nearly anything you desire. So, which level of wealth do you currently find yourself in? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'll catch you all in the next video.